Tag TV brings you daily news bulletin from India. Breaking news and views from India.
You're watching South Asia Newsline and have the top stories we are tracking for you on Monday, the 23rd of June. India's Operation Sindhu rescues over 1,700 nationals from Iran and Israel amid escalating conflict. Indian delegation pays homage as Ireland marks 40th anniversary of Kanishka bombing. And Afghanistan turns to Russia for some food supplies amid Iran-Israel war. And now for all the details. As the Middle East plunges deeper into chaos with Iran and Israel locked in a fierce military showdown, India is navigating the crisis with precision. Over 1,700 Indian nationals have been safely evacuated from the conflict zones under Operation Sindhu, alongside citizens of Sri Lanka and Nepal. We have a report.
As tensions peaked between Israel and Iran, India launched Operation Sindhu to swiftly evacuate its nationals. By June 22nd, over 1,700 Indians were flown out from the conflict zone via chartered flights, according to India's foreign ministry. Evacuees thanked the Indian government and its mission in Tehran, citing worsening conditions in Iran. Deputy Foreign Minister Pabitra Margarita said more flights are scheduled in the next 2 to 3 days, and over 160 Indians who crossed into Jordan from Israel will be repatriated soon. Extending support, India also evacuated Sri Lankan and Nepali nationals from Iran. Nepal's Foreign Minister Arzu Rana Deuba thanked her Indian counterpart S. Jaishankar on X, calling it a testament to strong Nepal-India ties. Sri Lanka's Foreign Minister Vijitha Herath echoed the sentiment, praising India's timely help and deep bilateral bond.
And the total number of evacuated Indian nationals from Iran stands now at 1,713, and we have scheduled 2-3 more flights from Iran for the next 2 days. And the same way, we are in constant contact with all our Indian nationals residing there in Iran and Israel also. So I'm very glad to say that from Israel also 62 Indian nationals have already crossed border to Amman of Jordan, and within a day or two those Indian nationals will also be brought safely to India.
बहुत अच्छा काम किया इंडियन गवर्नमेंट ने, मोदी जी ने, हमारी इंडियन एम्बेसी ने। जितने भी वहाँ लोग फंसे हुए हैं, स्टूडेंट फंसे हुए हैं, कम से कम वहाँ 10,000 स्टूडेंट है, और सबको मोदी जी निकाल रहे हैं। और जितने भी वहाँ लोग घूमने गए हैं, ज़ायरीन हैं, जो वहाँ के लोग इंडिया के वहाँ रहते हैं, सबको मोदी जी बहुत अच्छे से निकाल रहे हैं। किसी का कोई रुपया नहीं लग रहा है, सबको रहने के लिए बहुत अच्छा होटल दे रहे हैं, बहुत बढ़िया खाना दे रहे हैं, बहुत ही लाजवाब सिस्टम है।
As the Iran-Israel conflict escalates with the US bombing nuclear sites in Iran, Tehran has said it will close the Strait of Hormuz, a key global energy choke point. Around 20% of global oil and 25% of LNG pass through this route. However, India's Petroleum Minister Hardeep Singh Puri said the impact on India will be minimal, citing diversified crude import sources and ample reserves.
We had diversified the sources of supply, and out of the 5.5 million barrels of crude oil that India consumes daily, about 1.5 and 2 million only come through the Straits of Hormuz. We import roughly 4 million barrels through other routes, and our companies, the oil marketing companies, have enough stocks. Most of them have stocks up to 3 weeks. One of them has in fact 25 days stocks. And we are also confident that we can increase the supply of crude through other routes should the situation so warrant.
Tel Aviv and Tehran have been in conflict for 11 days after Israel launched strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities, command centers, missile sites and oil depots over suspicions of nuclear weapon development. In response, Iran fired waves of ballistic missiles and drones at Israeli cities, including Tel Aviv, Haifa, and Jerusalem. Tensions spiked over the weekend as the US bombed 3 Iranian nuclear sites, with President Trump claiming they were obliterated. Maintaining neutrality, New Delhi has urged restraint, with PM Modi speaking to both Israeli PM Netanyahu and Iranian President Pezeshkian to push for dialogue and de-escalation.
And a high-level Indian delegation led by Union Minister Hardeep Singh Puri on Monday paid homage at the Air India Memorial in Ireland's Cork as they observed the 40th anniversary of the Air India 182 terror attack. Puri, alongside other lawmakers from India, took part in the remembrance ceremony, which was also attended by Ireland's Prime Minister Michael Martin, Canadian ministers and several other international dignitaries. Puri said the attack on Air India flight Emperor Kanishka is stain on humanity. He added the tragedy was not an accident but was a deliberate, heinous attack carried with extremist elements associated with fringe radical movements trying to weaken nations with such actions of terror. The Air India Flight 182 was flying from Montreal to Delhi via London on 23rd of June 1985 when it exploded mid-air over the Atlantic Ocean off the coast of Ireland. All 329 people on board, including 268 Canadians, mostly of Indian origin, 27 British and 22 Indians were killed. Claimed by Babbar Khalsa, the attack was the deadliest in Canadian history. While one person, known as Inderjeet Singh Rayad, was convicted in connection with the attack, the primary suspect, Talwinder Singh Parmar, was killed in a police encounter in India in 1992.
Women and children, more than 80 children had boarded that flight expecting to return their loved ones. They never did. This tragedy was not an accident. It was a deliberate, heinous attack carried out by extremist elements associated with fringe and radical movements who sought to weaken and still seek to weaken countries by such actions through terror. Sadly, this is not merely an episode of the past. Terrorism and extremism remain a very real present-day threat.
And thousands of protesters marched in Pakistan's largest city, Karachi, and the capital, Islamabad, on Sunday, denouncing US airstrikes on Iran and Israeli aggression in the region, with some trampling on a US flag bearing US President Donald Trump's image. The demonstrations came after Pakistan's government condemned Trump's decision to bomb Iranian nuclear facilities, calling it a violation of international law. The unprecedented escalation of tension and violence owing to ongoing aggression against Iran is deeply disturbing, Pakistan's foreign ministry said, warning of severe regional consequences. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif conveyed Pakistan's condemnation in a call with Iran's president. Protesters criticized Islamabad's earlier suggestion of nominating Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize for support in de-escalation during Pakistan's conflict with India, a claim New Delhi has rejected.
फ़कत अपने हुकूमत पाकिस्तान को सिर्फ ये कहना चाहूँगी कि देखें इस जलसे को, इस आवाम को कि जो ना सुन्नी है, शिया है, सब मौजूद है यहाँ पर, लेकिन ये आपको बताना चाह रहे हैं कि हम सब ईरान के साथ खड़े हैं और आप इस सिचुएशन में ट्रम्प को नोबेल प्राइज़ देना चाह रहे हैं, जबकि जब से इस हुकूमत में आया है हमने नहीं देखा कि गजा पे कोई बमबारी रुकी हो, हमने नहीं देखा कि उसने फ़लस्तीन के लिए कुछ किया हो।
किसी भी तरह अमरीकी हुकूमत को ये राइट नहीं है कि वो किसी सोवरेन कंट्री में जाकर उसके पुरअमन जोहरी जो तनसीबात हैं उस पर बमबारी करे। अगर कोई मामला है तो IAEA जो इंटरनेशनल एटॉमिक एजेंसी है वो इसी काम के लिए है, लेकिन ये अमेरिका की खुली जारियत सिर्फ ईरान के लिए नहीं बल्कि हम समझते हैं ये पाकिस्तान समेत खित्ते के तमाम ममालिक के लिए खतरे की घंटी है।
Pakistan on Saturday said it was nominating Trump as a genuine peacemaker for his role in bringing a 4-day conflict with India to an end last month. It said he had demonstrated great strategic foresight and stellar statesmanship. The world braced on Sunday for Iran's response after the US attacked key Iranian nuclear sites, joining Israel in the biggest Western military action against the Islamic Republic since its 1979 revolution.
दरअसल ये जंग ईरान की जंग नहीं है, ये दरअसल जंग इस्लाम की है। ये जंग ईरान में रुकेगी नहीं, ये उसके बाद अगला मरहला पाकिस्तान है। हमें आज अगर हम इसराइल के खिलाफ डट के खड़े हो जाएंगे तो इंशाअल्लाह वो आगे जंग नहीं बढ़ेगी। आज हमारी हुकूमत वक़्त से अफवाज पाकिस्तान से मुतालिबा है कि अमली तौर पे जो है इनक़िलाब इस्लामी ईरान के साथ खड़े हों।
Moving on, Adhoc employees in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir have been living in a state of uncertainty for decades as the government continues to ignore their pleas for regularization. A report.
Ad hoc government employees in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir are staging a sit-in outside the Central Press Club in Muzaffarabad, demanding regularization after nearly 2 decades of service. Despite years of dedicated work, they continue to be denied regular status, unlike their counterparts in other parts of Pakistan.
जो रियासती पॉलिसी अपनाई हुई है वो सहूलियात नहीं, वसाइल नहीं, सिर्फ मसाइल हैं जिससे लोग दो चार होके कभी सड़कों पे आते हैं, कभी दफातर के आगे, कभी इस्लामाबाद तक। और मैं ये कहना चाहूँगा कि ये कौन सी रियासत है, ये कौन सा कानून है, ये कौन सी हुकूमत है कि आज से 20 साल कबल जिस रियासत में, जिस कानून ने, जिस हुकूमत ने, जिन अदारों ने इन मुलाजिमीन को भर्ती किया, इनको रिक्रूटमेंट की, इनको भर्ती किया, और आज 20 साल बाद इनकी जवानियां लेके जब ये कुछ बनने के काबिल थे, जब ये कुछ कर सकते थे, वो सारा टाइम आपने ले लिया, इस रियासत ने ले लिया। और आज 50 साल के करीब 45 साल 40 साल यानी हद उम्र गुजरने के बाद जब ये कुछ भी नहीं कर सकते, तो आप 20 साल बाद आपको याद आया कि ये गलत इनकी अपॉइंटमेंट हुई है, इनको फारिग करना है। मैं समझता हूँ कि जुल्म है और कोई भी रियासत, कोई भी ऐसा कानून इस मैं समझता हूँ कि समाज के अंदर, इंसानी समाज के अंदर जो है वो काबिल कबूल नहीं है।
Over the past year, repeated protests have highlighted the deepening frustration among ad hoc employees in POJK. Many of them are braving the scorching heat in hopes of securing basic job rights. They say their youth has been spent in service and now, facing job loss, their families are left with no future.
And Taliban-controlled Afghanistan has turned towards Russia for some foodstuffs amid the conflict between Israel and Iran, one of its largest trading partners, especially after the recent involvement of the United States. Acting Minister of Agriculture, Irrigation and Livestock of Afghanistan, Atollah Omari, informed Reuters that the country is in discussions with Russia to import some food items. As relations between Russia and the Taliban have been improving, an Afghan delegation is visiting Russia's main economic conference in St. Petersburg this week to meet Russian agriculture officials. There is widespread concern due to the recently erupted war between Israel and Iran that could disrupt trade flows to Afghanistan. Iran supplies Afghanistan with sugar and vegetable oil as well as some dairy products among other commodities. Omari said that the country is now seeking wheat rather than flour from Russia. Afghanistan was the top buyer of Russian flour in 2024 and it increased its own wheat production by 10% last year to 4.83 million metric tons. Russia has lifted its ban on the Taliban recently, which it had designated as a terrorist organization for more than 2 decades, paving the way for both the countries to normalize ties with each other.
در بخش تولیدات غنم خود ما هم 4 سال می شوند که بعد از خروج امریکایی ها با همه سعی تلاش کوشش می کنیم که تا که مواد خوراکی ضرورت خود تهیه بکنیم و بقایا که از طرف روسیه سالانه دما آرد و گندم می آیند. ما پیشتر با امرای معین صاحب وزارت زراعت فدراسیون روسیه دیدن کردیم. در این باره هم با امرایشان صحبتایی داشتیم، از ایشان تقاضا کردیم که در جای آرد برای ما گندم بتین و همچنان در ارتباط دیگه محصولاتی که از روسیه سالانه به ملک ما می آیند.
Moving on, Nepal's anti-graft agency, the Commission for the Investigation of Abuse of Authority, CIAA has filed a corruption case against Milan Kumar Thapa, member secretary of Pashupati Area Development Trust, and 15 others as defendants in the case registered at the special court on Sunday in connection with procurement irregularities related to the electric crematorium project. According to CIAA, the accused colluded to embezzle over 103.3 million Nepali rupees by deliberately inflating cost and violating public procurement rules in the purchase and installation of cremation machines at the electric crematorium located at the Aryaghat in Pashupati area. The equipment installed was later found to be a substandard quality, failed to function properly, and remains non-operational. Important procurement conditions were also allegedly amended without valid reason to favor a specific bidder. In addition, the project's terms of reference were designed to sideline and exclude genuine competition by setting unusually high experience requirements. The CIAA has demanded legal penalties against all individuals and entities involved. That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time tomorrow. Good night.
Tag TV brings you daily news bulletin from India. Breaking news and views from India.